I think that's super cool.
So in terms of the U.S. system now, is there something you think could be demolished today?
The drug war.
Amen.
I think that's something that can, you can take that Rothbard button, super anarchist approach to the drug war. There's, I view a lot of politics and issue-based politics as kind of a game of chess. Like, you can't just take one thing out, or I guess more of a game of Jenga. Like, if you guys ever played Jenga, you build the tower, you got to take something out and make it not fall. But that's kind of how I view, national politics. You can't just go out whatever you want and expect no repercussions. So I think the drug war is a good starting place. That's something you can take away. You get millions of people either out of jail or out of prison, expunge their records, make it easier for them to get jobs. That has a huge economic impact that helps people, gets people out of poverty. A lot of these single parent homes get their parents back. Like, that's an issue. You solve so many things by ending the drug war. And yes, you will have a small spike in drug use. Just like you saw with Portugal when they decriminalized all drugs. There was a small spike in drug use, but then it went down. Like, drug use does go down when you legalize it. It just does. And then you end the issue with a lot of the border issues. A lot of the violence surrounding the border, a lot of the violence in Mexico that causes people to come here, that goes away. You solve a lot of international issues. You get a lot of the money that's involved with this above board. There's so many things that ending the drug war will do to help the economy, help the people, help everyone's freedom overall. That's one thing that I would absolutely nuke in a second.
And have you ever indulged in any kind of drugs? Are you saying this out of a selfish place or just out of principle? I don't know if you want to admit that on air, right? But
I do like some weed occasionally.
Oh no.
I know, it's horrible. No, I've hella anxiety and stuff like that. It helps, but no, I'm not like a regular drug user. I've never really done anything else besides weed. And that's something that's pretty much legal, or the attitudes towards legalization is almost at 100%. I think it was like 75% nationwide for legalization. That's something that's not super controversial, but I'm not coming at this from like a selfish standpoint. I look at it pretty economically and from a humanist standpoint. Like, this is just going to help people. Like, yeah, I don't think people doing, coke and meth and crack is a great thing. I don't like that people do drugs. I don't like that, families are destroyed over drugs. I don't like that part. But making it legal doesn't help that. It's still happening. But you're creating an era of, black markets and, dangerous activity around it. You add to the danger element. You add to the negative impacts of drugs by making it illegal. So it's definitely not from a selfish aspect. I look at it economically for the most part, and just see the damage it does to the economy, first of all, and to just people in general.
Imagine if they did a spin-off series of Breaking Bad after the drug war's over.
It would just be a guy like working at a store.
It's just him it's just him as a science teacher just in class, and he just one day goes, probably make more money doing meth, and just switches over. And then it's just him in the store. Nothing different.
But I mean, to think of all the money that's available in drugs, I think in Canada, because they've recently legalized marijuana in Canada. And
with some major regulation, though.
Yes, as they did in Seattle and elsewhere. They're learning the taxes, making it too expensive just keeps the black market alive. Yeah. But I think in Canada, it's either processed or the state is involved in somewhere in either the retail or something like that. And they're losing money.
Yeah. You have to be a government agency to lose money on pot.
To lose money on drugs, and only the government could do that. And I thought that was the funniest thing.
Like, how bad do you have to be of a drug dealer to lose money? This is stuff like people who never had a job, like just some random neighborhood kid can make money doing this, but the government can't.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, just to touch on that a little bit. I don't know if you've seen some of the research that's been going on with the psychedelics.
A bit, yeah.
Right. So as we know, back in the 60s, it was Thomas Leary. Was it something Leary? I can't remember. They're actually using the psilocybin and LSD and DMT and stuff like that to treat non-responsive depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and all of these things.
Yeah.
And that research started in the 60s. And of course, I think it was Nixon with the war on drugs. He just outlawed it. So we've lost 30 to 40 years of research on this. But there's a resurgence of that right now, especially in the Veterans Affairs. And over here in the UK, there's a lot of stuff going on with the NHS. And again, psilocybin and mushrooms and these things, it's the safest of all of these things. Compared to Tylenol, where we know there's a toxic level, we don't know what the toxic level is for hallucinogens and psychedelics and stuff. There's one experiment where they try to kill an elephant with LSD, and it took like a shit ton to do it, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can look it up. LSD kill elephant on Google if anybody's interested. But we've lost so much medical research and benefits because of the war on drugs. And I'm glad to see the sentiment is changing, at this point. But so many people's lives have been lost from that. So I completely share your sentiment on getting rid of that.
Yeah, absolutely. The mushrooms research is, it's kind of fascinating, knowing that was shut down for 40 years and now they're making all these breakthroughs showing that it's helping non-responsive depression. That's huge. Like, think of how many lives that will save. How many suicides are due to non-responsive depression? Like a lot of them. And if you can get people off of these prescription drugs that do have like huge margins of side effects and negative side effects, stuff like that, like you're going to save a lot of people and save a lot of suffering. And the fact that research was shut down along with usage with the drug war, that's ridiculous. You should still be able to research the things in a controlled environment, even if it's illegal. Like people were studying hemp when it was legal. Like why shouldn't that have happened with other drugs? It's so silly to me.
I mean, the government has done way worse experimental wise than drugs. I mean,